Oh, oh my God, there's one right here. This is perfect. This is perfect, guys. I almost didn't see that. Whoa. Beauties. People use this to make crackers and all sorts of good stuff. Time for an adventure. Oh, the morning sun. My God. We're ready to get going now. We're driving east to eastern Montana to visit Lindy's parents for the weekend. And it's a very different terrain over there. You know, you got those river bottoms, but beyond that, it's not as mountainy and there is a lot more arid climate. It's almost like desert type climate. Wild West, wild West with a lot of cacti and stuff like that. But there's plenty of spring greens to forage around this time of the year. It looks a bit more alive over there, I would say.
It gets like 10 degrees hotter there when it's colder here, and 10 degrees colder there when it's colder here.
Yeah. So they might even already have like those spring mushrooms that we've been chasing around here and haven't been finding. That would be nice. Mm-hmm. Some morels or oyster mushrooms. I could go for that.
All right, let's get going.
Let's do it. All right, guys, you will not believe what we just found. Driving through this backcountry road here, saw some asparagus. We gotta go check it out. Let's go. Let's hope there's some fresh growth already. It's about that time of the year. No promises. This is the road. These are the kind of ditches you want to be looking for asparagus. We got some over here and over where Lindy is, right by these people's yards here. You seen anything, Lindy?
Nothing new.
For those that don't know, this is what asparagus looks like if you keep it growing. Right now what we'd be looking for is asparagus meristems, stalks, like you would at the store. And if there were any growing, they'd be coming up right around these somewhere here. These older stalks. Nothing on that one. Let's go over here. Man, that would be so cool if we got some asparagus already. But it might just be too early. On this one, you can kind of see. Oh, there! Oh my God, there's one right here. This is perfect. This is perfect, guys. I almost didn't see that. Look at that. That is a perfect asparagus. This is like prime harvesting. I was going to say, look at this here. This old stalk, you can see the little scales still. It's a good ID factor to look for. The scales you'd see on the fresh asparagus like that. I got one. Yeah. A perfect one over here. This is awesome. Heck yeah, first asparagus of the season. Let's harvest this one. There's a really tiny one next to it. Bit too small to harvest, honestly. Not worth it. We'll leave it for another asparagus hunter to come through and pick up. But this one right here, this one's just prime. And you don't want to let these go too long because then they'll get hard and woody and turn into this stuff. And you can see this old flower stalk is super fibrous. That's not what you want at all. You want them when they're nice and tender. So here we got a nice, although crooked, but nice asparagus to take home. Smells so good. Heck yeah. Haven't found these in a while. Just got to come to eastern Montana for them. So these are actually naturalized. They're not a true wild species. Oh, there's another tiny one coming up right there. And that means the seeds, you know, at some point escaped, maybe fell off a truck or something. And that's why you commonly find them on roadsides and ditches. But as far as I know, you can find these all over the United States, which is pretty cool. Free veggies right here. Let's keep looking if we find some more. Here's another batch of old ones. You can still see the berries on there that the asparagus gets later in the year. These are poisonous though, you don't want to eat those. It's hard to see them, you really have to get in there and start looking around. Okay, so here's not an asparagus, but look at this, what's growing along here. This is not asparagus. I believe it's some sort of horsetail maybe. But at first glance, it does kind of look like it, and I know people have mistaken this for asparagus. Where did it go? Here. So, don't make that mistake. It's got to look like it does in the grocery store. Then you're golden. Alright, so we kept looking all over now. There's a ton here, all along this road. And sometimes that's all you need. You know, one good spot like this, and you could be making out like a bandit with asparagus. Now, I think we are a little early, or someone already picked them, but I think just based on what I just saw with this first one, we're a little early. But that's alright, we have one asparagus for dinner tonight with our steak and lobster. So we'll throw that into the veggie pan for sure. Alright, I lied. We literally just walked back to the truck and Lindy checked one last spot and found some more. So that's Harvest O's. We're at. Nice. So that's a pretty decent size. We're just gonna harvest it and have some more dinner for tonight. Nice. Those are so nice and fat. Look at them. Beautiful. All right, we went on a little bit of a side quest visiting Lindy's grandparents, and her grandpa is actually a famous painter here in Montana. His name is Jerry Inman, and check out this painting we scored. Holy crap. He does amazing nature paintings, landscapes, buildings, old buildings, animals. Here we got the pronghorn antelope on a beautiful Montana prairie. So if you love this art as much as we do, and you maybe want to buy some of your own, check out what he has. Let us know in the comments below, and I'll get you connected with him. Hey, buddy. So right here in front of me, you can see all these bronze to red colored flower stalks. They're dead. They're from last year. And these are actually curly dock. Let's look at them a bit closer. So here's a really nice one. You don't often, or you don't always see dock with multiple flower stalks like this, but it is possible. And again, this is last year's. You can see it has all these seeds on there. All these brown things are seeds, and you can actually use these seeds and dehydrate them if you get them at the right time of the year, usually later in fall, and make a flour out of it. People use this to make crackers and all sorts of good stuff. We've never done that, but I kind of want to start doing it this year. And here we have a spot with a lot of dock, so I think we'll have to come back to here later in the year and harvest some of them when they're nice and fresh. But let's take a closer look at the leaves emerging here from this perennial plant in the spring now. What you're looking for with dock is you want to get the leaves before they get huge and fibrous and tough. So you really want to get these early in the spring. Here's a bigger one as an example. What they're known for is this kind of curly margin, meaning the curly outer perimeter of this leaf. That's where it's got the name curly dock from. And I believe in botanical terms, they call this crisping or something like that. It's got an interesting name, kind of like a chip, you know. Now, like I said, what you want is the smaller leaves, ideally. So I'm just going to go in here and get some of the smaller leaves out. Here's some smaller leaves. Here's a really good sign, a good ID factor for curly dock. It's got this sheath around the bottom of the leaves, usually. And the leaves, when they're just emerging or when they're pretty fresh, they're curled up like this usually. They're really nicely and tightly wound up. and then they'll open up as they grow. And those will have that sheath on the bottom when they're still really young usually. That will later then dry out and become brown and brittle. It also has often this slimy stuff toward the base of the leaf, like toward the base of the petiole, the leaf stem. And that's a good thing. It's kind of gross, but if you can feel that, you're on the right path to identifying a dock. The dock is in the genus Rumex, and there's a ton of different dock species in there. As far as I understand, they're all edible, but always make sure you're IDing anything that you're going to eat 100% right before you do it. Another thing to look for on the dock leaves, let's get a little bigger one, is you can't really see it too well on this one, but the leaf petioles will have like ridges going kind of like a rhubarb would have, just smaller, on a smaller scale, all along the leaf petiole. You also have the bottom of the mid vein on the bottom of the leaf is protruding, it's coming out, and the top is pretty flat. And what you definitely want to look for with dock, and I learned this from Sam Thayer's book, one of his foraging books, is that you want to get the dock that doesn't have a bunch of red coloring or red dots on it, because that dock is likely to be super bitter. So you want to get the docks, if you can find them, that don't have any red on them. That's the money. Like, that's what you really want to go and get a bunch of, because that's going to give you the best spring green. So another thing to look for is when the leaves are young, they'll have these vertical creases going from the tip of the leaf to the base. And then you can give it a little bit of a stretch test. And if it has give while you're stretching it like this without breaking, that's a good sign that you're going to have a fresh leaf that isn't super fibrous and tough yet. So those are just some things to look for with dock. This one has definitely some bitterness to it, but it also has this citrusy flavor to it, almost like an apple peel. And that's actually the oxalic acid in it. So dock has a lot of oxalates, just like spinach. So if you have kidney issues or you're sensitive to oxalates, like if you have a lot of gut issues and oxalates trigger that, you should be careful with eating a lot of dock, because that might not be good for you. So I just wanted to point that out. But a good dock, when the leaves are young, is a super pleasant flavor, I think. And it's just a great spring green to saute, chop up, blanch. I mean, you can get real creative with it. And, we love making like a spring green scramble, especially like in an omelet. I love putting this in omelets. We're going to harvest some of this to take home and freeze. So yeah, I want to get the smaller leaves if possible. When they're a bit younger, they can not have these, they might not be as curly as the leaves get, as the leaves that are older.
I see.
Another one. Let's go. Yeah, let's check a different spot while we're here. All right, pretty cool. That's it for the dock. We were able to harvest a couple handfuls of young leaves. Gonna take those home. Gonna keep an eye out for those throughout the spring here now. And then, blanch them and freeze them, because they are a great green to add to whatever vegetable dish you're cooking that requires greens. All right, y'all. We moved on to another property here, checking for oysters and whatever else we can find out here in eastern Montana. So hopefully we get into them. I'm looking at some dead cottonwood trees right now. We found some here last year, so I have high hopes that we'll get into them. Let's keep looking. All right, great news, guys. We have found the first oysters of 2025. Let's go. Where are they, Lindy? Check them out. All along this log. They're not very big, yet, sadly. These can get quite big, definitely like hand-sized big. Since we are quite a ways from home right now, we're going to harvest some of these. Ideally, if I were closer to here, I would wait another like 3 days for these to get good. But we'll take this little clump and throw that into our dinner tonight. Little squeaky noise. There you go. Tell me they're not buggy already. So there. You guys can see the decurrent gills going down the stem. Beautiful oyster mushrooms. Man, I wish they were a little bigger. And that's alright. We might find some more here. This is a win for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So these are spring oysters in Montana. Nice tan color. You can also get golden oysters. Ooh, I dropped a little one. We gotta pick that up. And there's white oysters as well. We have a whole podcast episode with Hoosier Forager. And we dive deep into oyster mushrooms. So if this is a mushroom you're interested in learning more about, definitely check out that episode because you'll learn a lot in it. It's on the channel, so I'll blend it in up top. Let's keep looking. One thing with oyster mushrooms is they'll always be growing on a log. So you're not going to find them on the ground. But that's something to look for if you're pretty new to oyster foraging. We just heard a turkey gobble across the river back there. And Lindy actually has really good turkey calling skills, so we're going to see if she can get him to respond. Alright, you ready? Make sure you cup your mouth and project that sound way out there, okay? There he goes. You guys hear that? Try again. Louder. There he goes again. Oh, he's hot. He's hot. We need to get over there somehow. If only we were turkey hunting right now.
And it wasn't private.
Yeah, it's private land, so can't do that, sadly. Man, no more oysters so far. Check out all these dead cottonwoods we checked. Hoping to find some more, though. Let's keep looking.
It'd be so funny if someone watched the film and they found like a bunch of oysters we missed.
Yeah, like right on that log.
It'd be so funny.
Hey, it can happen.
Yeah.
That's why, while you're foraging, here's a little tip for you. Bring friends. Bring friends and then share the bounty because you have a lot easier time filling those bags.
Mm-hmm.
Check this log out here. That looks promising. I found them in cavities like that. Let's take a peek. Nope, nothing in there. Sadly. You see cracks like this under fallen over logs. Those are good spots to look for oyster mushrooms too. There's a lot more humidity there oftentimes, so I always check there if I can. Yo, look at that cottonwood Lindy found. It's a monster tree. What's up, Lindy Lou? Oh my god. No way. More oyster mushrooms. More oyster mushrooms. Let's go. Hey. There you go. Good job, baby.
Weird, quick, give them away.
Oh man, these are still kind of small. There's some here.
These ones are nice.
There's some here. Some itsy bitsy ones coming out here.
And here.
Yeah, these are already like drying up, so yeah, we need to get those even though they're small. Like, it's just, I don't know. It snowed here like 2 days or 3 days ago, so it's probably why they're looking how they are already. Hey, good job. GG's, Lindy. Freaking pumped. This is what it's all about. I love it. We're by the river now. Montana Beach.
Welcome.
There might be some gold in that sand. Look at that awesome river. It's beautiful. Oh, what you got there? You forage a steak waffles? Good job. Yeah, buddy. Found some more oysters. River is definitely a good spot to check. Just like a lot more humidity, moisture, all the stuff that mushrooms like. We noticed this tree here had some old mushroom growth, and I've noticed that on like all the trees we found oysters on so far today. So I was just looking here and here, and here's the question. Can you guys spot the mushrooms? I'll give you a second. Look closely. They're somewhere around here. Okay. You said right down there, you're right. And there's actually even more than I thought. Look at that. Nice. Look at those. These look prime. Here. Let's get a little mushroom ASMR going. We're gonna spank that thing. Okay, enough joking around because you shouldn't play with your food, right? These are super fresh. These might be the freshest we found. And I think that is the case because again, river, there are leaves on them. They keep the moisture in there. Whoa. Beauties. Oh my God. I left a few right here so they can grow big and spread their spores, but oh, look at that. That is so sick. I love oyster mushrooms. Oh, and the smell too. It's like some people say like fishy. I think it's a lot more like licorice and definitely just a really pleasant smell on them. Man, I did not think we'd do this well today. This is good. I'm gonna have to record this in my foraging journal. Now we're gonna keep walking along the river and hopefully we'll find some more. We did see some shrubs, like a whole shrub line way back there, and we're hoping to get into some plums there maybe. But this was awesome. We're gonna be eating good. I wish I would have brought my outdoor cooking gear with me. Could have cooked this all up right here, right by the river. Next time. All right, we didn't go 20 yards and Lindy found some more. The river provides.
Whoa, there's a giant red beetle.
Ew. Make sure that doesn't crawl in your mouth.
Do you know how? Oh God, I would vomit.
See any more back there?
No.
Good job. Awesome.
I feel like I have bugs crawling on me. I do.
Oh, there's a tick.
Ugh.
Yeah, we're gonna be full of ticks here. I've definitely felt some too. But that's just the name of the game. We're gonna have to shower later. Check ourselves like monkeys.
Oh, is that one? Ooh, ooh.
It might be time to go, guys.
So we lost Poldy a little bit ago, but I found his boots. So, let's see.
Oh, hey. Yeah.
What are you doing?
I think I've pulled like 10 ticks off me. We just got in here in the parking lot, changed our whole attire. I'm in sweats now. And yeah, the ticks are plentiful. It's kind of crazy.
Protein.
We were forewarned. Definitely not the protein I want to eat. Pretty good day now so far. Got the mushrooms, got the asparagus, got some dock. Now it's time to head home.